Yes, we are live now.
Good.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I am Indore and Free Press Journal. We are going to have a very interesting talk by Dr. Velu Mani, who is the person who decides whether the person needs treatment or does not need treatment. He's the diagnostics person. Just a little line before Himanshu Rai, the director from IIM Indore, introduces the chief guest. Uh, IIM Indore and Free Press Journal got together to create this forum only to make people realize the policy issues underlying some of the critical areas that confront India today, which is why we had something on energy, which is why we had something on food security, which is why we had something on the dairy industry, and now we have something on the very forum itself, COVID. What is COVID all about? Before we begin, I'd like to thank two parties. One is our radio partner, 92.7 Big FM, and the second is our outreach partner, which is Money Life Financial Services, the magazine run by Sucheta and Debashish Dalla. Can I request Himanshu Rai to introduce our speaker for the day?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to all our viewers. I hope you're all staying home and staying safe. It's such a delight for us, for Bhaskar and I, to have with us Dr. A. Velu Mani. Dr. Velu Mani comes from a humble family. He was born to poor parents in a small village, ANP Pudur, near Coimbatore, in 1959. And today, he owns and operates Thyrocare, an industry leader and a household brand. Began as a mathematician, became a scientist with a PhD in thyroid biochemistry from BARC Mumbai University, and is now a celebrated entrepreneur. Anchored at Navi Mumbai, he has employed 8,000 plus freshers. He serves 10,000 cities and towns in 10 countries through his clinical laboratory services. He does around 400,000 tests a day. Dr. Velu Mani proves amply clearly to the industry that focus gives success and frugality gives sustainable success. He has never borrowed personally or for his company. An infectious motivator, he has succeeded in converting educated as employed, graduates as professionals, individuals as entrepreneurs, vendors as partners, family members as wealth creators, and by his own unique way, transformed intimidating problems into opportunities. Welcome, Dr. Velu Mani. And now over to you, Dr. Velu Mani. We would want to hear from you, what are the COVID lessons for our country and particularly for the healthcare industry?
Thank you, Free Press Journal. Thank you, IIM Indore. And welcome the audience and namaskar. Yes, this COVID is a jetka. We can call it tappad, whatever it is, but unexpected happened. Now, 150 days, this menace is being around. It started in China, has traveled to every part of the world, more so in Western world, more so in rich countries. European, UK, US has seen the brunt of it. And we also had a parallel journey. It's not that we had a led journey. But in this last 100 days of presence of COVID in India, what we have learned and what world is undergoing, what we have escaped is what something I will summarize. I want all of you to feel happy and I wish to congratulate all of you that India is safer than any other Western world.
Yes.
Okay. It is very important for us to understand that, Sabhi doob nahi gaya. It is not that bad. It sounded very bad, but it is safe for at least in India. It is safer than in any other country. And I've got a valid, solid defense for making that a statement. Many don't agree. The world is having two kinds of people. One is extremely positive, another is extremely negative. And it is important that we balance the world with enough of positive energy, which is filled with so much of negative energy. So what negative people do? They look at infection per million, absolute infections. Hindustan mein 75,000 it has crossed. But they forget India has got 1.35 billion population. So let me tell you, introduce some terms known as a death per million, tests per million, infections per million. These are all standard yardsticks to understand, instead of arbitrarily throwing a statement that it is collapsing. I think in India, death per million is just 1.5. In majority of the Western world, it is around 200 deaths per million. Okay. You can understand how safe are we. It is not that we started very late. We have started parallelly. हम बच गए हैं. क्या क्या कारण है बचने के लिए वो मैं आपको will explain you. Now test per million, India is not doing adequate test. Testing doesn't matter much in this pandemic. Deaths per million matters more. So India also has spent substantially, but not as much as Western world can, because they have got a very high per capita income and they can afford to spend. Consider India as $2,000 per capita income and America as $40,000 per capita income. They can throw money for anything. We can't throw away money for everything. So if somebody has been telling we are not testing adequately, it is only misguiding. Testing truly doesn't save life, because testing doesn't change the way in which the management of the patient is done post the knowledge of COVID positivity. It's quarantine. So let us look at death per million comparative to India and the Western world. As I said, we are only 1 or 2 per million. Western world is 100, 200. Even some of the countries have even 300 deaths per million. So we are safe. Second one is we are safe simply because, as early as January, I have tweeted, I am available in Twitter. Velu Mania is my Twitter handle. I said very early, India will be safe. India is safe. The reason was China had a mean age of 38. India had a mean age of 28. And people in China died above the age of 60, majority, very little below the age of 60. So I felt at a mean age of 28, India is safer. But Western world has a mean age of 48, India 28, China 38, and Western world has 48. So now you can understand how bad this 48 mean age has undergone. So India is an young country is safe country. So that's point number one, why our death per million is low. The second one, India is a poor country. We were all feeling ashamed of telling hum gareeb hai. I must tell you, हम गर्व से कहना है कि हम गरीब है. कारण ये है, when you were poor, you are not living in a hygienic condition. Because you are not living in a hygienic condition, there were a lot of pathogens you had to undergo. Mind you, Indians' child mortality is far high compared to the Western world, which means Indian children from birth start fighting only with a lot of pathogen so many times. This pathogen, COVID pathogen, is one more pathogen. For Americans, it is the pathogen. You got what I'm talking? Which means we are safe. Our body has much higher immunity and we don't fall sick very fast. Western world falls sick very fast. The more you pamper your immunity, the more often it falls sick. So this is a lesson which I want all of you to understand, because I am from a village. My mother used to have 5 children. And there was doctor only 10 kilometers away, and there was no money to spend to the doctor. And 5 children, every alternate day, one will have COVID kind of syndrome. My mother never took us to hospital. We all fought it. So today, immunity plays a very powerful role, and Indians have higher immunity. So reason number 2, one is young country, second is a poor country. Third one, because we were a poor country, tuberculosis loved us. And India is a cradle for tuberculosis because tuberculosis was our friend and neighbor and guest, we had developed BCG as a program, as a vaccine program. So all Indians have got BCG vaccine. Now look at the map, worst affected versus least affected. The least affected have tuberculosis background. The worst affected does not have a tuberculosis background. And they used to say We are a rich country. Tuberculosis is not our problem. It is the problem of the underdeveloped. So, bach gaya. Tuberculosis also is saving. Malaria is also saving. So, whether it is malaria alone, tuberculosis alone, poverty alone, or the demography where mean age is 28, all four have contributed and bailed out. It is not the lockdown as claimed to be by some of the innocent guys. Lockdown has helped. Lockdown 1 was wonderful. Lockdown 2 was needed or not was very, very difficult to say. Lockdown 3 was not right. And now people are talking about lockdown 4 also. I must tell you, one lockdown was ideal. But even there, implementing that lockdown appeared to have gone heavy, because now for 40 days, 50 days, still people are walking in the highways. And the migrant memory will remain for next 100 years for us. We can't just forget it. So that is about the safety India has got, Indians have got. Fear and panic was the major reason why decisions were wrong. You know, leaders are not supposed to be a part of panic. They should stand aside and take decision. Unfortunately, all chief ministers, health ministers, all have got into panic mode, and all of them felt that, you know, sabko ghar pe bitao, without understanding. In some houses, sitting in the house is dangerous. In some houses, moving out is dangerous, because गरीब के घर में 10-12 लोग रहते हैं, वो एक दूसरे को infect करते हैं. So that is what we see Dharavi. That is what we see all metros where safe distancing is not possible. Lockdown did not truly work. So the world is very clear now. Until now, there was only non-COVID. January, COVID has come. So COVID and non-COVID are two different religions. Both will exist. And last 2 days, the government has declared that we have to live with it. 50 दिन के बाद बोल रहा है, we have to live with it. Nevertheless, we are learning lessons, and the lessons are learned only on the journey. No one could predict it. So what is that? What is that happened to diagnostic industry? The non-COVID was wonderful. I was doing almost 1.25 crore a day. And within 3 days, it became 1.2 lakhs per day. What was 100% became 2% in 1% in 2 days. Now, fortunately, Thyrocare was told you do COVID testing. And I'm very proud to tell, in a matter of 40 days, we have done 25,000 COVID testing, single largest COVID testing private laboratory. And we have undergone a huge pain of working against the live disease, making people staff to work against the virus in the laboratory. Everybody is told, sit at home, don't stare the virus. And we are told the employees, don't sit at home, come and stare the virus. You can understand what kind of traumatic experience. But then it is a need of the hour, and my boys have done, and I'm very proud about my staff. So the background has completely changed. Healthcare background is completely changing. No one knew what is cost of a test. Suddenly, everybody is understanding why it should be so costly. If COVID test has to be done, why blood sugar test is only 100 rupees? Why COVID has to be 4,500? Unfortunately, all bureaucrats, all people have started looking at diagnostic test as some kind of, ordinary domain. But then, having said that, we had to do a lot of explanation. Where is the cost coming from? How it costs? Let me tell you, when I do thyroid testing, I do in a day not less than 100,000. My costing is different. A laboratory which does 100 rupees, the costing is different. Costing is based upon volume. Volume will take time to build upon. Costing cannot be imposed. Volume pricing cannot be imposed. Everything has to evolve through competition. So far, no one was imposing, but we have proved that we are the cheapest. So it will be a matter of evaluation which no one had understood. Media glare, too much of criticism. All who are MLAs, MPs, ministers only start questioning on science and antibody. Immunoassays, all these things have become suddenly anybody talks, and it's a huge task for a laboratory, Tamba, listen, you know why false positivity, you know why false negativity. And if we explain why false positivity, this man doesn't know how to do the test. He is defending unnecessarily. It was a hell of a time in the pandemic. Now, whatever it is, the healthcare industry's profitabilities are all question. It is all asked. And I must tell you, the most promising industry post-COVID is healthcare. Unfortunately, for the current situation, healthcare is not seen as a good industry, because many people see pricing is too high. All laboratories are unnecessary. All hospitals' bills are all in internet and Twitter to say why this gloves cost this much, why this PPE cost this much, why a doctor has to wear 3 different PPE for that patient. Why can't he wear the same PPE? All questions are asked. It's very pathetic to understand. Everybody is talking, asking, but that is the glare, and that is the good, that is the bad. So those companies which understand costing right will have a better pricing, and those companies who have volumes will have better floor efficiency, and volumes are needed. So it's a journey, was a journey, is a journey, was a journey with non-COVID business. Now will be a journey along with COVID business. Both will be very different. Earlier, if you were walking in the road without an underwear, you were arrested because that was under Obscenity Act. Today, if you will be on the road without a mask, it will be an Epidemics Act. So you need to be very careful. That world has completely changed. So let us look at what is healthcare going to be. As I said, the opportunities post-COVID, healthcare will be the fastest growing. If other industries grow 11-12%, some may even grow minus, some may even not be existing. But healthcare will be growing at least 25-30% year over year for next 10 years. A huge opportunity. The second one is wellness, fitness, and nutrition, because people now have understood there is no meaning in chasing bungalows and cars and vanity bags and holiday homes. It is good to have good health. So wellness, fitness, nutrition. Nutrition will play a very huge role, because man was not knowing what he was eating. People were thinking that kuch bhi kha sakta hai, kaisa bhi ji sakta hai. Now people will understand that we have to discipline our inputs. Nutrition will play a big role. The next very promising industry is personal hygiene. Whatever is helping you to prevent illness, whatever cream you use, whatever sanitizers you need, whatever what you call as accessories which would be using for preventing yourself from calamities, is going to be a very huge industry. So will things come back to normal? Trust me, things will not come back to normal. We have to adapt to the new normal. So this is something which don't expect things to come back to your comfort. Going forward, digital will play a major role for every industry. All will be keen to work digitally. Today, we are talking to this big crowd using no cost, very little, and it's a very cost effective. So will be healthcare, so will be financial services, so will be so many, even educational service, all will technology driven, IT driven, and will be all digital, feet on street, brick and mortar, all will come down. In going forward, COVID business will be 50%, non-COVID business, which was existing, will be 50%. So there is a potential for a healthcare industry to add another 50% of total business in their portfolio. In the long run, hotels will become hospitals, because hotel industry is getting a unique kind of colossal survival challenge. So there is a likelihood, as such today, if you look at it, all hotels are quarantining. So they are already put into healthcare services. They may not, some of them may not get out. And by December 2020, you will have 10 national hotel chains becoming national hospital chains. So having said that, I want to sum up my talk by telling 2 words which will be very important for a human being to survive. One is health, another is wealth. One is known as immunity, another is known as frugality. If you have immunity, you have health. And immunity is not which you can purchase from a store. Immunity is a gift inherited from parents. As I said, my parents did not pamper my immunity, because of which I have a great immunity. So is my people in my family, my village. And I wish to all of you to thank your parents if you have got a very good immunity, because you didn't get it from anywhere. Your parents cultured it in the first 10 years of your life. And after 10 years of life, immunity cannot be that easily improved. And if you have got it, you got it. Please, if you are all parents, make sure your children are allowed to face all their healthcare problems by themselves until they reach a point of very serious illness. Today's mothers who are taking their the temperature of the child 4 times in a day, and the minute temperature rises, that she rushes to the doctor, and doctor tells the fever is there only for last 6 hours. Why don't you wait for 2 days? No, doctor, I have only one child. I can't take risk. Injection there. Doctor will give you 2-3 antibiotics together, but that you are killing immunity very early. Your body will get used to, support from outside for challenges to be solved. That is one thing, very big learning. I want the society to understand, parents to understand. The second one also, which cannot be purchased, which cannot be taught, is frugality. My mother was extremely frugal. She was an utter poverty, but she never borrowed. She lived within her means. So when I started business, I lived within my means. As I was introduced, I have never borrowed. Trust me, you don't need too much to survive. Too little to survive. If you have immunity and frugality, you are the king and emperor. Please make sure these two things are focused, not on impressing the neighbor by your so-called assets, which will put you into great EMI, and this kind of disaster can collapse you. I wish to give time for the question and answer. I have summarized about the COVID, the industry, and what would help in future. And thank you very much for making me to be a part of these discussions.
Thank you very much. Himanshu.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that was an excellent layout of what is happening. And I think there was a learning experience also in terms of educating people about what COVID-19 is all about and what is going to happen, what is inevitable, and therefore not something that we should be worried about, but we should understand what is in our area of influence and try to manage it. Now, my first question is that although you did give an idea about the size of the diagnostic market in India, when you said that 50% will get added, how much of this is being catered by the organized sector?
See, in India, the organized sector has been only 10, 12, 13%. And the remaining was unorganized, because anyone could start laboratory. But if you look at COVID testing for the last 50 days, it is 95% organized. There is no unorganized at all. They never allowed anybody to do. So I have a reason to believe this shift of unorganized to organized will take very fast route. I was thinking it will take another 20 years for the unorganized to vanish. It looks like even next 24 months, unorganized could become 5-10%.
Oh, but so you're saying that it's going to be
complete
change.
Yes, we now know what is healthcare, what is quality, what is cost, what is speed. So this is a great learning. हर तप्पड़ में लोग पूरा बदलते हैं. So इस तप्पड़ में these things will change completely.
But Dr. Velumani, I think you saw it much before, because when I read things about you, one of the things that you have said and your company says is that quality is not an accident; it is an intention. So that is something which is very, very prominently said, and I would like our viewers to actually read this. It says quality is never an accident; it is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. This is your quality policy for ThyroCare. Would you like to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you, I'm not a medical man. I'm a mathematician. So I became a research scientist by another accident. And then I became an entrepreneur by one more accident. And I saw this business in a very different angle from a, mass textile. I'm from Coimbatore, textile city. I looked at it like, what happens if you do a lab test a day? Then all things fell in place. I priced it low. Because I priced it low, volumes came. Because volumes came, we could afford automation. Because we had automation, the costs were low. So this was a very positive cycle which I have undergone for the last 2 decades, which finally says branded cheaper than unbranded. This is something which I have proved to the world. People used to ask me, okay, good, your quality is good, your power is there, but why do you sell at a lower cost? I always told them, if a branded is sold less than the unbranded, you are the biggest brand on this earth. So quality is supposed to not demand a better price. I always, whenever a vendor comes to me, he tells, I'm a better quality. Tell them, if you can give better quality at the same price, you are the only option then. So if to a market also, if I am the best quality and I am the cheapest, I am the only option. So with all said and done, quality is discipline. If somebody's system is disciplined, manpower is disciplined, his purchase is disciplined, discipline results quality. Not a newspaper advertisement, not a television commercial. It is the floor discipline.
Wonderful.
Thanks. I have one question before I go to the audience's questions, and we've got some very interesting questions of audience, very provocative ones. My question is, mostly diagnostics, pathology are areas where the patient pays from his own pocket. Insurance does not cover it. Now, we believe that if insurance covers diagnostics and reimburses diagnostic costs, it's a preventive cure. And if it's a preventive cure, it reduces the risk for the insurance company. It improves your fortunes. It improves my health. Your views.
Yes, unfortunately, Indians did not understand that insurance will do good. India is an young country. So Indians always felt padosi marta hai, amma hi marega. ये भूल गया कि हम भी किसी का पड़ोसी है. But having said that, in this last 10 years, it has grown from 5% to 10%. And the next 10 years, it will go from 10% to 40%. Because now people understand the importance of health and the cost of health, and they will certainly use insurance. Insurance company also is volume driven. Without volume, they won't be able to service at that cost. So in the long run, the insurance consumers will go up, insurance cost will come down, insurance reach will be far high. So that is one thing which will be very nice to see, number one. Number two, insurance company's job is not to allow you to die, because if you die, they have to pay you more. So to not allow you to die, they have to go for a yearly, half-yearly screening. That means you will know before it arrives. So this is something which happens late. It is not to blame anyone. In every evolution, this happens. Let me explain in a layman language. Our per capita income is only 2,000 to 3,000. Roti, kapada, makan, $1,000. So only when the per capita income goes above $3,000, the insurance will be seen, or the health will be seen, and risk will be seen. So the people above the pyramid only will consume insurance. People below the pyramid will not consume insurance until government covers and gives them free. There is a likelihood our Ayushman is going to help for the bottom of the pyramid insurance scheme, and the top of the pyramid will buy their own insurance. But without insurance, future will be very scary.
But you're positive. You're
positive. Yes, it is going to be a very positively moving insurance industry.
Okay, we have a provocative question from an audience member. Why are we insisting on cleaning our hands and washing our hands and using antiseptic and sanitization? Will that not lower our immunity?
No, actually, the question is right. When we were children, if we had not washed our hands, we had a luxury of facing the pathogen, falling ill for a couple of days, and then calling that as improved immunity. We did not know, and we were not knowing how serious this virus is, how long this virus will be around. When lockdown was introduced, our Prime Minister gave that if you sit at home for the end of the lockdown, you get rid of the virus. After the first lockdown, he said another 3 weeks, if you sit, it will end. Now again he tells another 3 weeks it will end. So it looks like lockdown 10 also will tell that another 3 weeks, which says that lockdown is not the solution. Washing the hands is one solution, because otherwise you are hugging and kissing virus directly. So
Yes.
it's a pandemic and we should be avoiding it. So safe distance is one way of delaying. Washing the hands is a good way of living and it should be done so. So, there is a better hygiene now and I am very happy. I have washed in last 60 days, much more than what I have washed even in last entire 60 years. So to that extent, washing has become a new habit and it is good. The third one is wearing mask is must. I think without wearing, had we worn mask in February 1st onwards, there was no need for a lockdown. Very simple.
Okay.
Because, the life was always taught give and take, give and take. But when the virus comes, you can't give and take. You have to stop it. So the mask is must, and we probably will live with mask for another 5 years.
Okay. Question, but before the question, for the audience, I'd like to mention that there are a couple of videos and backgrounders on Dr. Velumani's life, which we will attach to the recorded session, and we'll also try to intimate you through emails. Do watch those videos.
Yeah, I have some YouTube links where
exactly. We got the links.
Testing, what is PCR testing, what is antibody testing, how much to be scared of, why we should be confident and courageous. These communications I have done adequately, both in English and Hindi and also in Tamil. So anybody wants to go through can consume.
We will send the links to everyone. Yes.
Yes.
One more question is, how do you see the healthcare supply chain emerging after COVID?
See, supply chain is all depending upon volumes, evolution, and maturity of the industry. So there was no word supply chain when I started business, no word logistics when I started business.
Exactly.
But we started getting specimen from different parts of the country. But then slowly the pharma, the medical, the diagnostics, everybody needs some products to go from point to point. So we have a very matured supply chain departments, companies which do 500 crore only in supply chain also are there. So that is all fairly well matured. So there is no concern, and COVID will only be amplifying that. Additionally, it will improve in size and efficiency. So that we have very much in place.
Sir, one more question before I pass you on to Himanshu Rai. And the question is that in India, for the last 70 years, it's not one government, last 70 years, we have not paid attention to basic data collection on health and life. Even today, only 15% of India's dead are medically certified. Now that creates problems in creating a database of illness, of cures, of patterns. Your views?
I think we can't blame it on anyone. It is the country, its nature, its culture, its economy, its power, its weakness. All is, हम है, हमारी ताकत हमारी है, हमारी कमजोरी हमारी है. India is one among that countries where every citizen doesn't have a passport.
Which is true.
So, yeah, hardly 5-7% of the population have passport. Rest are all only ration card or voter card. So having said that, we have such a huge population. For ascertaining the death of a cause of death, body has to undergo postmortem, and then one has to study. It is a huge expenditure which only high per capita income countries could do. There also 70% is real data, 30% is guess data. In India, it is only 10%, 15% real data, remaining is no data.
Yes.
So we are supposed to be taking, digital was not there. Now everything is digital. I'm surprised to see here today and yesterday that liquor will be online delivered, which means we have gone digital so much and now things should improve. Everything is getting rationalized. I have a reason to believe. Let me also conclude my positivity. This is very much important for the next generation to understand. Our growth was nothing, our own growth. It was a relative growth compared to Western world. India and China were growing faster comparatively than the Western cousins. There was a 2% GDP difference. India and China were ahead, the guys were behind. Based upon this 2% difference, we were thinking that China will become world's largest economy by 2040 and India will become by 2050. This is the extrapolation based upon a lot of factors. COVID has come and COVID has changed the GDP background. India will lose 2%, China will lose 2% temporarily. But the Western world will lose 3%, 4% temporarily. They will be negatively growing. We will be positively growing. The difference will be 4 units, which was otherwise 2 units. Which means there is a likelihood China will never become number 1. India directly will become number 1 in the year 2040 itself. Why I'm making this very positive statement is her challenge gets you an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Japan only after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And for us, it is the COVID which will make our journey very different. India is a very powerful country, has a huge human resources. And mind you, Gulf country Indians will be back to India. All over the world, Indians will be back to India. And also remember, Mumbai will lose migrants, has lost migrants. All metros will lose migrants. All villages will become now powerful. Metros will lose power and all small countries will be more powerful. All rich countries will be less powerful. What a powerful lesson this COVID has brought to the world. Arrogant we were. Arrogant we were. So now it's open for you to ask me questions.
Yeah. Dr. Velumani, I have 2 questions. One related to just now what you said, and the second one is a personal question, which I'll ask you later. But the first question, as you said, that India has this potential to directly become number 1 by 2040. But it cannot happen on its own. Just like your quality policy, it cannot be just this accident of COVID that will make it world's number 1 in terms of GDP. What does India need to do to ensure that this really happens?
Brilliant.
Yeah, let me tell you, India cannot be stopped. You look at the highways, the youth walking, the power in them, the stamina in them, the emotions in them. This is unstoppable. And this is 1.35 billion. Which is 2.70 billion hands, 1.35 billion brains. How can you stop? Could migrants be stopped going to native town? No. Government got scared. It will be a very big law and order problem. So what I am saying is India has that power, which it will certainly take us towards there. But what can help us is a responsible government, a very powerful leader who gives priority for progress, not for politics, gives priority for emotions, not for communal separations or fights. It's very important. The next 20 years, we have leaders who take decisions, leaders who help people to achieve their dreams. They cannot give money or any such thing. We will make it to happen.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. I think that's a message which should
very powerful message
across the country, and it's a very powerful message. And that brings me to a personal question. You mentioned 2 accidents in your life, which made you change the course of your life. So from a mathematician to somebody in a different educational field, and from that to an entrepreneur. If it's okay with you, would you like to talk about those 2 accidents?
Yeah, I think in life you don't plan for accident and accidents happen. हम जो सोचते हैं वो कभी होते नहीं है, जो हो ही जाता है वो हम कभी सोचा ही नहीं है. So गांव में था, कभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट पार नहीं किया था, लेकिन एक इंटरव्यू लेटर आया तो मैं बॉम्बे पहुंच गया. That's the accident number 1. And I got a government job without any hassle. A class 1 gazetted officer post, so that I call as a very important turning point in my life. And then a man who did not even have money to finish a BSc had a luxury of doing a MSc and PhD in thyroid biochemistry in Mumbai University. Whether I deserved it or God was great, I have no knowledge, but I got it. And then acha kasa government job was going on, and then I felt that risk taking is very important in life. And जीवन जिंदगी तो एक ही बार होता है, हम जितना हमारा मन लगता है उतना रिस्क तो लेना ही है. The next point, I think if you people listen to my talk, I will tell two punchlines. One punchline is जीने आया या जीतने आया. So my mind said take risk. बड़ा होना है या बुढ़ा होना है. So my mind said बुढ़ा तो अपने आप होता है, बड़ा बनना है तो कुछ ना कुछ रिस्क लेना है. At an age of 37, my daughter was 3 years, my son was 5 years. I took a risk of leaving the government job and starting this business. So if you look at it, ये सब all these things are incidents. We can call them accidents if we go negative. Otherwise, they are all incidents which pushed you to a very different orbit. Every decision making takes you to the next orbit. I have a punchline and I want to register that here. In life, either you can discuss or you can decide. You can't do both.
Yes.
Many people discuss and get stuck because family members don't allow you to decide what is, risky. But then without a risk, you just can't achieve anything. If you have not taken a risk, you don't have a story to tell. So I want all those who are young and, looking for a next 30, 40 years, please note, success is important, but sustaining the success is more important. Very often, we want to become successful even before we get married. That's a wrong dream. Peak should come only in an age of 45 and 50 because that has to be sustained. If it comes too early, you will not have a power to sustain it. So no peak, waste of life. Early peak, risk of life. Yeah, late peak is true success. Guys, life is a marathon race. Business is a marathon race. It's not a 100-meter race. Have patience, work towards it. You need stamina. It will happen.
Wonderful. So I think that you very aptly...
Can I just ask one more question?
Yeah, Bhaskar, please.
Do you expect the cost of diagnostics to continue following?
I must tell you here on this year, everything cost will come down.
Okay.
Only HR cost will go
up.
Okay.
All other costs will come down because we did not know. I also want to dwell 2 minutes or 1 minute on this. I'm a mathematician.
Yes, sir.
Mathematics is a very important subject in understanding the costing.
Yes.
And I was a chemist, so my maths plus chemistry, concoction has made my costing very powerful. When costing is right, pricing is right. When pricing is right, business is right.
Brilliant.
Very often businesses fail because the pricing is wrong. There is no business on this earth closed down because they have priced it high.
Yes.
Low. Priced it low. There is no business which has collapsed because they have priced it low. All collapsed business will have high pricing but unable to manage the cost. So the power of business is keep the price low, produce a profit. Your companies will have 100 years of life.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Himanshu.
Great. So now since, Bhaskar brought it back to the diagnostics industry and we were talking about it, there are some gray areas and dark spots so far as this industry is concerned. For example, how are the standards prescribed? Are they prescribed by the government on the way the tests have to be conducted or the way the parameters have to be decided and what parameters are to be decided? How does that happen? It's almost like a black box.
No, today's diagnostic laboratory is like a pharmacy. Pharmacy those days was making their own medicine and keeping a pharmacist there. Today there is a capsule, there is a tablet, there is a bottle, and they give you the bottle. And life is not risky when you go to a pharmacy because everything is standardized. So is diagnostic laboratory. 40 years back, I had to make my own reagent to do the testing. So there were some procedures to be followed. And if you don't follow the procedure, you are risking the outcome of the quality. Today, literally speaking, all machines are there. All of them are automated. And you don't have to have a familiarity in T2 airport in Mumbai to reach to your flight. To that extent, everything has been very well laid out. So we don't have today a standardization problem. Today, only thing is you need such kind of a volume and efficiency to produce a better quality at a lower cost. All laboratories, almost 90% of the laboratories which do the test have quality. Only thing is their costs are not in place because they don't have volume.
Organized sector.
Yes, it is known as organized sector.
Okay.
Wonderful. So I think it was such a delight having you over, Dr. Velumani, and particularly because there were so many myths associated around COVID-19, and they continue to be there. But I think after this session with you, some of those myths would have gotten busted. And more importantly, people learn through the lives of others as well. Sometimes people look at the lives that other people lead, and then that motivates them to do something. So the one thing that you said about following the passion and ability to take risk, and I think the way you describe risk is actually a combination of courage and common sense. It's not like taking an arbitrary risk, but actually giving it the thought. And the other important point which I really loved was the thing about discuss, but not too much. I mean, you can't have a discussion going ad infinitum. You must make a decision. And if you make a decision early, you are likely to do much better in life. So thank you very much for those wonderful learnings. It was such a delight to have you here. And of course, as soon as things are fine, I invite you to come down to IIM Indore and also address our students. It would be a pleasure to have you there.
And I hope we'll keep on meeting you constantly. You are amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you
to all
very
our viewers, goodbye.
Good luck to you.